All right, today we're going to talk about something that could totally flip the script on how we value data. We're diving deep into the Codatta Protocol, a system that's trying to put a real price tag on every bit of knowledge you create, especially for AI.
So let me just start with this one question to get you thinking. What if every single piece of data you contributed, every fact you checked, every image you labeled, had its very own bank account? Seriously, imagine a system that's always watching, and whenever an AI uses your data, it just deposits a little royalty payment right into that account. That right there is the big idea behind Codatta.
And to really get our heads around it, here's how we'll break it down. First, we'll look at the big picture vision. Then, the basic rules of the road. We'll follow the money to see how value gets in, check out the royalty engine that makes it all tick, see how you actually get paid, and wrap up with the big question: what does this all mean? Okay, so first things first. This idea of a new data economy. Here's the problem Codatta is trying to solve. Right now, your knowledge, your intelligence is constantly being used to train these incredibly powerful AI models, but you almost never see a dime from it. This protocol is all about creating that missing financial link. Now, you can't just build a whole new economy without some ground rules, right? For this whole thing to work, it's built on three really clear foundational principles. These rules basically govern every single thing that happens inside the system. So here are the three pillars. Number one, the token, XNY, is the fuel. It's what you use to do things in the system, like launching a task. Number two, the actual royalties, the money you earn, gets paid out in stablecoins. These are cryptocurrencies that are pegged to something like the US dollar. So your earnings have stable, real-world value, none of that wild crypto price swing. And finally, number three, the system is totally open. Anyone can come along and build on top of it. Okay, so we've got the rules down. Now let's follow the money. How does value actually enter this ecosystem in the first place? Well, it all kicks off with two main groups of people: clients, who are the ones that need the data, and contributors, who are the ones providing it. And here's the flow, step by step. A client, let's say an AI company, launches a new task. Then a contributor comes along and submits the data that's needed. The client then accesses that data through an API. And here's the crucial part. The protocol automatically tracks in meters every single time that data is used. It keeps a perfect, unchangeable record. And you can see here how both sides have skin in the game. The client pays an XNY to get their task started. The contributor also uses a little bit of XNY. You can think of it like a tiny transaction fee or gas to submit their data. And they can choose to stake even more XNY to basically say, hey, I'm really confident in the quality of this data. It creates this really nice, balanced system of incentives. All right, so we've got data flowing into the system, and we're tracking every time it gets used. This brings us to the absolute heart of the protocol, the thing that makes it all work, the royalty engine. Honestly, this is where the magic happens. To put it really simply, the royalty engine is like a super smart automated accountant. Its whole job is to take all that tracked data usage, turn it into real revenue, and then automatically split that revenue among everyone who deserves a cut, from the person who first provided the data to the developer who built the app. You know, theory is one thing, but seeing the actual numbers makes it click. So let's run through a quick, tiny example. Imagine an AI product using this data just blows up and becomes a huge hit. And in just 1 month, it makes 1 million API calls to pull data from the protocol. 1 million calls. That's our starting point. That's the usage. Now, let's say the protocol has a set 30% royalty rate. So after that million calls, a total royalty pool of $300 is generated. That's real money, just sitting there ready to be paid out to all the data owners. So we have this $300 pool of cash. The final piece of the puzzle is, how does a slice of that pie get from the system into your actual pocket? This is where your contribution really pays off. Let's imagine you own about 2% of all the data that was used. And because the data you submitted was super high quality, the system gives you a little bonus, a 1.1x multiplier. So the math is really simple. It's that $300 pool times your 2% ownership stake times your 1.1 quality multiplier, which equals a payout of $6.60, sent right to you in stablecoins. So we've walked through the whole process, from a company needing data all the way to a contributor getting paid. Now let's just zoom out for a second and ask the most important question of all. Why does any of this actually matter? What this protocol does, for maybe the first time ever, is create a completely transparent, totally automated and direct financial pipeline between an AI using a piece of intelligence and the human being who was the source of that intelligence. The value actually flows all the way back to the person who created it. I mean, by building a system where every single contribution can earn royalties based on how much it's used and potentially earn them forever, this just completely reframes our relationship with the information we generate every day. It leaves us with this one kind of huge question. Is this what the future looks like? A future where your knowledge isn't just something you have, but a real tangible asset that actually earns you an income?